I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. Bunnell may soon no longer be home to the county's only cold weather shelter. Flagler County government wants to team up with Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, and Bunnell on a team effort to help those experiencing homelessness. As part of a proposed agreement that will be discussed at the County Commission meeting today, Flagler County would provide transportation to the Church on the Rock in Bunnell on evenings when temperatures dip below 40 degrees. The shelter inside the church would be operated by the Sheltering Tree, which runs the county's only cold weather shelter at First United Methodist Church in Bunnell. In exchange, the nonprofit would get funding from each municipality to operate. The county decided to step in after Bunnell tried to shut down the shelter inside First United Methodist, but that was halted by a Department of Justice investigation. County Administrator Jerry Cameron called it a community-wide problem that shouldn't just be Bunnell's burden. Bunnell commissioners will discuss the proposal at their next meeting on February 24th. Their city manager Alvin Jackson called it a good first step, but says a more comprehensive overall approach is needed. Flagler Beach and Palm Coast also appear poised to jump on board. A convicted felon is back behind bars in Flagler County, Tony Magoo reports.
A security check was made at the racetrack gas station at around 2:30 in the morning, February 14th. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office sergeant made contact with the driver of a vehicle in that parking lot. The driver was cooperative with the sergeant, but while he was conducting his investigation, he became suspicious. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley picks it up from there.
They were tactically aware and observant and ended up arresting a convicted felon in possession of a firearm along with marijuana.
The male, later identified as 22-year-old Austin Flores, did not comply with any of the sergeant's commands, and another sergeant arrived on the scene and was able to cuff Flores. Flores is a convicted felon since 2018 and is therefore not allowed to possess a firearm. He was arrested, charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana, and battery on a law enforcement officer. He was booked into the Sheriff Perry Hall inmate detention facility where he's being held without bond. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
With all the new residential development coming into Palm Coast, many are wondering if it will reduce the value of older homes. John R. King has more.
Toby Tobin of GoToby.com and host of WNZF's Real Estate Matters was recently asked about the effect on the value of older homes with the approval in the last few years of several recent developments, including 1,000 additional homes along US 1 north of Palm Coast Parkway and more than 230 apartments in the new Innovation District of Palm Coast Town Center.
The older homes are devalued by nature of being older. They're dated. The roofs are 20 years old, perhaps, but we really have a young housing stock. The average age of a home in the country is about 37 or 38 years, and here it's only about 15 or 17 years. It's in that range because we had so much of our building was in the bulge through 2001, 2006. The nice thing about our housing stock is because it's so relatively new, much higher percentage of it is built to the later hurricane standards.
Real Estate Matters airs on WNZF every Saturday at 11 a.m. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
It's about the halfway point in the state legislature in Tallahassee.
That means that things could get intense or not get to the governor's desk at all. Representative Paul Renner, who represents Flagler, Putnam, St. Johns, and part of Volusia counties in the State House, says they're in the home stretch.
Whatever bills have not crossed the finish line in the House and Senate and gone to the governor for signature are dead. They have to be brought back in a following session, if at all.
Renner said that if the bills do not clear their respective committees, they too are dead. He believes that the legislators started with about 1,000 bills this session, but said that only about 200 made it out with the governor's signature on them. To listen to more about the state legislature from Representative Paul Renner, download the Flagler radio app and then go to the Free for All Friday podcast. Tomorrow, a balanced budget and no new taxes. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
It was a Valentine's Day to remember for more than a dozen couples in Flagler County.
Some people renewing their vows and some people getting married with an actual ceremony here in the name of love.
That's Flagler County Clerk of Court Tom Bexley, who helped the couples tie the knot. Among them, Flagler County Commissioner Greg Hansen and his wife Linda, who renewed their vows after 48 years of marriage. The ceremony is usually on the steps of the courthouse, but had to be moved indoors due to the weather. And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.